Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to part 2 of our MotoGP 25 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Argentinian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday, go back, check it out. We kickstarted the campaign inside this game back in Thailand, and it's safe to say it went quite well. We won the first race of the game. It seems like the AI are a little bit weak in the wet conditions. So for this weekend, I have upped the AI to a 95% difficulty now. We'll keep fine-tuning it behind the scenes, just do some tweaks and changes with it to make sure that we've kind of got it at a fair and fun competitive level that is, like I said, enjoyable but also a challenge all at the same time. Of course, if you're new around here, all the videos are going to be going live now exclusively on this channel, so get yourself subscribed for some more MotoGP content. Really looking forward to diving in and playing more with this game as well. But yeah, Argentina though, this weekend, I'm not entirely sure whether I know this circuit. Don't know if it's been on the calendar over the last couple of seasons. Taking a quick look, though, at these championship standings. Like I said, we're leading Moto3. It is Felipe Salac that took the win in Moto2 there ahead of Tony Arbolino. And then in the MotoGP Championship, Maverick Vinales leading the way ahead of Fabio Quartararo with Bastianini in P3. Again, I should know all these names. I am slowly learning them. Jorge Martin, you can see there in P5. What happened further down, though? Marc Marquez all the way down in P14, so not the start of the season he would have wanted. But anyway, yeah, let's head, though, here to Argentina.
Hello from Tomaster Rio Hondo. We're live for the second practice session in the Moto3 class. Only the first 14 riders in the combined standings will go directly to Q2. All the others will have to fight for the 4 remaining places in Q1.
Hanging out then here in Argentina, and yeah, I definitely know of this circuit. We've definitely ridden it before in the previous games, but I've also changed from the arcade handling mode to the pro mode, I think they call it, inside this game, so it is going to make the bike a bit more of a handful as well. It also does give you a lot more controls. Now, weirdly, it does actually give you a semi-automatic gearbox, so you can override it whenever you want to. But obviously, yeah, you can just let it kind of change for you as well, which is a little bit weird. I think I got no idea. I would assume these bikes don't come with that in real life. But I think a lot of... Am I wrong in saying a lot of normal bikes do have that? Someone will have to let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, I really don't have much recollection of this circuit, apart from the fact it's very good fun. So yeah, we're going to have to spend a bit of time in free practice learning everything. And then we'll dive into qualifying. Just like we did then back in Chang, I'm going to try and make sure that we get a good lap time on the board here in free practice. Hopefully then make it just straight through into Q2. But at the moment, we're about 3 seconds off the pace here of the AI early on. So again, you know, it might well be that I've set the AI a little bit too high for myself this weekend. Doesn't look like we're meant to see any rain. But yeah, I'm really just going to try and sit down and get some laps on the board. We seem competitive through Sector 2 and Sector 3. It's just 1 and 4 I'm struggling. Oh, someone's come off just in front of me. We just have to avoid them. And annoyingly, yeah, that invalidates your lap, of course, in MotoGP. There's been a lot of yellow flags out so far this session because of that corner. And it's making it very difficult for people to actually get times on the board. We're going to find another second on this lap. But it's still going to put us about 1.5 seconds away from anybody. Well, unlike Chang then last weekend, yeah, this place is far more kind of flowing. And it definitely will kind of test a motorbike rider's kind of skill and experience. You know, it is a lot more about having a good connection with the bike, that feel, that knowledge of, you know, when it'll grip up and when it won't. We're definitely getting quicker and quicker. We're less than 1 second off anybody else now. A lot of riders are still falling off, as you can see. But I just want to be down in the 46s. Oh, what, eh? Hang on a minute. We've run a 46.2. It reckoned we were like 2/10 away from good times there, but apparently we're still dropping down the order. So 24th, and yet we're only 7/10 away from fastest. The margins here are ridiculous. What on earth was that? Someone just completely wiped me out. Surely that's a penalty. As we're trying to just get our own laps on the board, I've done more than a race worth now of lap times so far in this session. And still none of them are quick enough. 9/10 away from fastest. I am slowly learning just how late you can brake and kind of how late you need to turn in as well into the corners, but I just need that one good lap. Well, there we go, tries I might there, just could not find the time we needed to throughout Q1. You can see it was Antonio Ruida on a 1:45.2. We were quite far down the order in the end. I don't know why this game still does this. And every time you scroll down, it just starts to throw you back up the order again. In fact, we ended up last there. Less than a second off, though, from P1, and there was definitely a few more tenths to find. So I think the AI is now set at a good level, but maybe a little bit high.
Hello from Tourmaster Riondo. With Moto3 Q1 just around the corner, riders are ready to take to the track, and we'll soon find out who will claim the 4 remaining places in the second qualifying session.
I'll be honest then, as we head to qualifying, I don't have any expectations to make it into Q2 or anything like that. I just want to get into the 1:45s here. As long as we're competitive enough, that's the most important thing. But yeah, I've definitely learned this game feels so... If you've just picked it up, put it in pro mode. It feels so much like better and kind of more as you would expect a motorbike to handle as well. So that would be my big recommendation early on. But anyway, yeah, let's go focus on our qualifying runs. Like I said, a 1:45 is the goal, or at least very close to it. I just don't want to be last, basically, after, you know, winning last weekend. This is going to be the big thing, isn't it, heading into qualifying. If the AI stay bunched up, some of them might legitimately not be able to get many runs on the board, as I've gone and binned it there as well. It's not a corner I've struggled with anywhere near as much as the AI, but it is still brutal. Here we go then, first actual time on the board here in Q1. Oh, big slide out of the final corner, and still only a 46.7. There was a lot of time to find, but yeah, that mistake in the final corner certainly was a bit scary. Well, irrespective of what happens this weekend, whatever the final result is, I certainly already feel like I've improved a lot. And kind of everything I learned on MotoGP 24 is starting to come back to me here. Just through the final couple of corners, we've got more yellow flags out a bit further back. As again, we'll go for a big slide. We'll improve onto a 46.0. That puts us P11 for now. And I'm not convinced I can find a lot more. The tyres are definitely starting to fall away. Well, there we go then. Matteo Bertelli, Jacob Ralston, Alvaro Carpe, and Joel Kelso then all making it through into Q2. We will line up, though, at the back of the field. Again, less than a second off the fastest time in that session. I'm expecting, though, with how many riders have been falling off this weekend, that unless we do the same, hopefully we can gain quite a few places in the race.
Welcome to Tourmaster Riondo MotoGP fans. We are live from Argentina for the South American round of MotoGP. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto3 class race. Our director takes us to the starting grid where riders are trying to maintain their concentration before the start of the race. The weather is clear and temperatures are far from extreme. However, tyre wear will play a very important factor in today's race. That's why lots of riders have been using medium tyres in the front and rear.
Well, here we are then down on the grid. And there we go. It was because I wasn't running pro mode, hence why I couldn't change the tyre compounds earlier on in the weekend. But yeah, we're going to listen to the advice of many others, and we're going to bolt on a set of the medium tyres. 7 laps ahead of us. The sun is shining, though, here, so hopefully we can get a good race under our belt.
Formation lap complete, and riders are lined up on the Tourmaster Riondo front straight. Just a few more seconds, and we'll get going in the Argentine Grand Prix.
Well, here we are then down at the back of the field. We've got a lot of work to do today, then, as we head into this one. 10 red lights, and it is going to be lights out, and away we go, then, off to a fairly poor start, as everybody weaves around, and that guy's just taking himself off. Man even made it to turn 1 then, and he just rode himself into the pit wall. No idea what to make of that one then, as already trying to get the elbows out, trying to get some moves done down at the first corner. I said I don't feel our actual pace was as slow against the AI, so maybe the practice and qualifying results made out. I feel like we were actually fairly consistent around this venue, so yeah, hopefully as long as I don't fall off too many times. Yeah, whoever that was down at turn 1 already then out of this race, so like I said, he just rode into the pit wall. Very, very weird, but up the hill we go then, in towards one of the biggest braking zones of the lap. I'm braking just at that little kind of squiggle in the white paint, and I've gone over. Yep, that seems about right on lap 1. Luckily we're not too far away from the rest of the field there, but knew immediately As soon as I nudged it, we were going to be falling off in that moment. I feel like I panic a lot more on lap 1 than I do, obviously, in qualifying and things like that. But this next corner is going to be the big one. Are we going to see any riders down? Are we going to see any chaos here through the next corner? Just trying to spot the AI up in front. A couple of them off the racing line. I need to make sure that I actually hit the apex. How come none of them fall off now? They've spent all of free practice and qualifying just throwing themselves off the bike there. And as soon as I'm a little bit detached on the back of the pack, they all can manage it with no issues. Well, Riccardo Rossi then setting the fastest lap on a 1:45.5. But yeah, we're not actually losing any time at all to your race leaders here and actually taking a bit out of the guys just in front of me. Only problem we've got, of course, is the fact that the AI is so evenly bunched up and the races are so short that if you do come off, it's very, very difficult to really kind of try and get back with the rest of the runners there. But the gap now is still coming down. If nobody falls off throughout this race through this corner, I'm going to be shocked. And I'll be honest, ever so slightly disappointed as people starting to pick up track limits warnings. That's a good sign. I don't believe our teammate Detweiler's having much fun here either at the moment. Obviously, we have got to make sure that we've got a lead over him in the World Championship by the end. I believe it's of the Qatar race in a couple of rounds. But yeah, we have now basically caught back up with the rear of the field. Like I said, I just don't want to finish last here. That's the big one. We definitely have got pace. I think we're going to leave the AI at this level. Because we're definitely kind of getting more and more confident. Well, there we go. I couldn't do it all weekend up to this point, but as soon as we're on race trim then, finally able to dip into the 1:45. So at least we've kind of got that monkey off our shoulder with 3 laps remaining. But yeah, no idea who that is just in front of me. Dorian Pin's motorcycling cousin? I really don't know, but it's actually out onto the back straight and we're really, really competitive here. The AI like to go much, much wider in. Apparently I like to go on the grass on the way in to try and get a run on the exit there, but yeah, still that gap to the leaders under 7 seconds, so we could have had the pace if we qualified well. Oh, there we go. Someone's down. Someone's down. Really not what you wanted there. No idea who it was. Was that? No idea. Here we go. Now the chaos is beginning. AI starting to come off their bikes a little bit more often. As yeah, we're up to P23 then. So Joe Kelso out of the race as well. Into the dying stages. I think what we'll probably do is leave the Moto 3 class at the 35% races. Then when we move up to Moto 2, I might go up to 50. I don't know how much longer the races are in Moto 2 and obviously MotoGP, but I know for a fact MotoGP obviously has sprint races every weekend. I don't know whether Moto 2 does. I think they do. So if we've got sprints as well, I might just leave it as is. Well, hopefully we're about to finally make a move on a rider that hasn't fallen off his bike in this race. Is right up behind this little gaggle of riders then, still on for another PB at the moment, so we are finding more and more time, as I believe that's Almeida has done a 1:45.3 now. Don't think we'll quite get to that pace, but I don't know as well whether it's just placebo or me panicking or what, but it seems like the bikes, you wouldn't expect them to kind of be affected by dirty air, but it seems like when you get right up behind the back of another rider, they seem to become a little bit harder to handle. So that might just be me kind of being a bit of a bottle job still early on, but they definitely seem to kind of get, I feel like I've got good braking markers in a few places, and then you kind of just can't find them anymore. So I thought that might be another one falling off. Nope, it's just track limits. A lot of bumping and bashing down to that final chicane. People trying to make moves then with 1 lap to go as we will try and do the old up and under. And I don't think I've ever celebrated trying to overtake a back marker as much as I am right now. To the outside, back into turn 1. Braking very, very late, but he's done it! We're no longer in last place. Yes, we are. Although, to be fair, we did fall off as well. So, the fact we're ahead of the other riders that have fallen off, I think we should be pretty happy with. But can we again? I mean, it's so much about switchbacks in this kind of racing. It's fast, it's flowing. It can be really, really tricky as well there. But there we go. Up and underneath. Can we try and get a top 20 in this race by the very end? It seems so bad, but it'll be such an achievement this weekend. And like I said, it's always that difficult thing with upping the AI, trying to get that big jump and then trying to race to improve against them. That's the big thing still, is a little bit of banging again. So he'll try and go for a very, very aggressive manoeuvre. Back to the inside of it, just about able to hold it off. This corner is completely flat out when you get the line right, but really want to be using the curbing all too much through there. We've got more yellows down. Someone else has come off. I've got no idea whether that, whether when the yellow flags come out, whether you can't overtake anybody else or what goes on in MotoGP. But there's more riders coming off as we will once again have a bit of a moment with, I don't know who that is, but in towards the final few corners though, there's riders everywhere. There's everybody just trying to stay on the road. My track limits have been absolutely horrendous through these final few corners, but are we going to be able to do anything down in towards the final couple of turns of this race? We'll swing out wide, try and get late on the brakes. Can we get the bike slowed down though? I don't think we have, as I think we're going to lose all the places, even the one we gained back down the inside through the final corner. No, we won't. It's P23, I think.
As the Moto3 riders do their cool-down lap, let's take a look at the final results of the race we've just seen.
Well, there we are then. Tayo Furusato will take the dub back to winning ways for the Japanese rider there. Ruida in P2 ahead of Adrian Fernandez. Almanza in P4 ahead of Alvaro Carpe as well there. Where was our teammate this weekend then? He was nowhere to be seen by the looks of it. There we go. Noah Detweiler down in P18 as well. So not a good weekend for the team there. We will end up, though, in P23 in the end, with that great battle towards the line with Cormac Buchanan. Luca Lunetta, obviously finishing a few seconds behind there, with Joel Kelso and Valentin Perron both failing to see the checkered flag. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We are still improving. We will be back, I'm pretty certain, next time out, we're out at the Circuit of the Americas, so it's a track I know, ready for the US Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it.